Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Red Dead Redemption 2 video, we are going to be talking about a lawsuit against Rockstar Games from one of the main groups in Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, that main group is the Pinkerton Detective Agency. Okay, so the Pinkertons in Red Dead Redemption 2, also known as the Pinkerton National Detective Agency, is a private security and detective agency and a major antagonistic faction in Red Dead Redemption 2. So the Pinkertons are private agents often hired by the US government and private companies for security and detective work. And in Red Dead Redemption 2, they have their sights set on outlaws such as the Vanderlyn Gang. Now, in Red Dead Redemption 2, the two biggest Pinkerton agents that we see are Agent Milton and his subordinate, Agent Ross. And they are the two that we see basically interacting with the gang the most in RDR2. Now, something you might not have known about the Pinkertons is that they are actually a real-life group. This isn't something that Rockstar just made up for Red Dead Redemption 2. So the Pinkerton National Detective Agency is a real organization founded by Alan Pinkerton in 1850. And they actually continue to provide services in the present under the simplified name of Pinkerton. They offer services such as private policing, detective, security, and intelligence work. So not only were they a real-life organization for around 50 years when our game takes place in 1899, but they're still operating today. So you might be wondering, why are they in the news and why do they relate to Red Dead Redemption 2 and Rockstar Games? Well, that's because they tried to sue Rockstar Games. They actually got in a legal battle over Red Dead Redemption 2. So news actually broke on this a couple of months ago, but there has been an update to this entire story. However, let's start from the beginning. So according to court documents that have been obtained, the Pinkerton Consulting and Investigation Agency sent a cease and desist letter on December 13th, 2018 to Rockstar Games and Take-Two Interactive. Now, in case you guys don't know what a cease and desist is, it's a letter that is sent to an individual or a business to stop purportedly illegal activity and to not restart it. The letter may warn that if the recipient does not discontinue that specified conduct or take certain actions by deadlines set in the letter, that party might be sued. It's basically just a big warning. Now, you might be asking, what did that warning say? Well, the Pinkertons and the company claim that they have been around for 165 years, and in the 1870s, the agency worked with law enforcement to apprehend famous criminals across the country. And the Pinkerton National Detective Agency claims that Rockstar used their trademarks featuring the Pinkerton Detective Badge without permission in Red Dead Redemption 2. They claim the Pinkerton National Detective Agency characters are used as villains hunting the game's protagonists. So basically, the Pinkertons were upset that they became the bad guys in this story, which I guess is to be expected. I mean, Agent Milton, Agent Ross, the Pinkertons in general, they're the bad guys pretty much throughout the entire story. They're chasing around the gang. And they're certainly not nice individuals. Also working with one of the other antagonists in the game, Leviticus Cornwall, who is also responsible for sort of funding the Pinkertons against the Vanderlyn Gang. Now, things get pretty interesting. In their legal letter, the Pinkertons say that the game makes it seem like they are somehow connected to Red Dead, when they never gave their authorization. They believe the game is likely to blur the distinctive character and tarnish the reputation of Pinkerton's famous trademark. So to a degree, I can kind of understand this because honestly, before Red Dead Redemption 2, I had never heard of the Pinkertons. I mean, I'm not in the business of, looking for private investigators or anyone like that, like detectives, but I didn't know who they were, so this is sort of news to me. But at the same rate, you once again have to distinguish the difference between a fictional video game and real life. And I'm pretty sure 99.9% of people will know that, every character in Red Dead Redemption 2 is a fictional portrayal of what Rockstar wants them to be, and not a representation of real life. Now, we knew the Pinkertons used to hunt down famous outlaws, but they're not hunting down anyone named Dutch Vanderlyn. And I can almost guarantee you there's no real-life Agent Milton in the Pinkertons. So I can understand that to a degree, because maybe some people who, had no idea who the Pinkertons were might now assume they're just a horrible group of, detectives trying to hunt down outlaws. But again, if you can't see the difference between real life and a video game here, then I think there's a bigger issue at hand than whether or not the Pinkertons feel like they're being, represented fairly or not. Now, moving on, the Pinkerton agency also makes it clear in the letter that they are willing to discuss a lump sum figure to settle the dispute. Otherwise, they are prepared to sue for trademark infringement, among other claims. So it's always about money, isn't it? So the Pinkertons want a lump sum figure. Now, I don't know the Pinkerton Detective Agency. I don't know what their end game here is. I can only imagine they probably saw the media success of Red Dead Redemption 2. They saw like the money that Rockstar probably made. And I'm sure they were like, hey, maybe we could get our hands on something like this if we decided to sue. Unfortunately, the Pinkertons are going up against the wrong kind of company, because this would certainly not be the first time that Rockstar has dealt with a lawsuit like this. I mean, going back to GTA 5, the entire saga with Lindsay Lohan, going back to other Grand Theft Auto games, GTA 4, Vice City, San Andreas. I mean, there are literally lawsuits that come about for basically every game they create. So this is not their first, roll in the mud here with something like this. And Rockstar has decided to fight back. They filed a lawsuit of their own in federal court seeking an injunction against Pinkerton and ruling that the use of the Pinkertons in-game is covered by the First Amendment. Now, I'm sure you guys know what this is, but the First Amendment means that Congress and the U.S. government cannot make a law that restricts the free exercise of speech, of press, of religion to assemble, and that also protects entertainment like movies, television shows, and video games. And because Red Dead Redemption 2 is a work of fiction, it means that they're allowed to use the Pinkerton logo like that. They're protected by the First Amendment rights. So the Pinkertons' argument here is not looking all that great. In fact, Rockstar argues that Red Dead Redemption 2 is a historically accurate video game set in the Wild West in the late 1800s, and they claim that historical references are woven into the fabric of the game at every level. And that's something that the Pinkertons would have a hard time disputing, because even they acknowledge that they have been around since the 1870s, working with law enforcement to apprehend famous criminals across the country. So literally, their own description lines up perfectly with how they were portrayed in the game. Now, Rockstar goes on to say the game's reference to the historical Pinkerton National Detective Agency and its agents is but one of a myriad of ways that Red Dead Redemption 2 accurately portrays the historical 19th century American landscape. The company argues that the Pinkertons are not overly featured in the game. Of the 106 missions in the 60-hour game, only 10 feature Pinkerton characters. They also claim the term Pinkertons has long been a staple of historical fiction about the Wild West, including films like The Long Riders, the television show Deadwood, and songs like Elton John's Ballad of a Well-Known Gun. Now, Rockstar also claims that their references to the Pinkerton National Detective Agency and Pinkerton in Red Dead Redemption 2 are protected by the First Amendment and do not infringe on rights held by Pinkerton Consulting and Investigation. So all of that was reported on in early January, and I didn't really cover anything like that then because I wanted to sort of wait till maybe there was a ruling or we got an update. Well, it looks like an update has come about, as now we know the outcome of this famous lawsuit. And it's not that as exciting as we all think. So this news actually broke the other day, but Rockstar Games has reportedly dropped the recent reported counter lawsuit against the real-life Pinkertons voluntarily. Now, there's not a lot of details on why this case was ultimately dropped, but considering in their withdrawal there is no mention of the Pinkertons cease and desist proceeding to any sorts of suits on their end, it is likely that the two parties reached a deal quietly and just pretended that none of this ever happened. So I think what happened is the Pinkertons and Rockstar and Take-Two Interactive got together and said, look, guys, you're not going to win this. It's going to be a really messy lawsuit. We would like to avoid this. You're not going to win. I know that you would like to avoid this. let's just come to some conclusion. It was probably a certain amount of money. There was likely some charities involved. So at the end of the day, it was probably a win-win-win for everyone. Rockstar didn't get a lawsuit. The Pinkertons likely got some money, and some money probably went to a charitable cause, as Rockstar has done with previous lawsuit winnings. So we don't know how much of that money is, but at the end of the day, I think this is a win-win-win for everyone. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of this lawsuit between the Pinkertons and Rockstar Games. Who do you think is in the right here? Who do you think is in the wrong? I personally think this is a silly lawsuit by the Pinkertons, not only to go up against a powerful mega corporation like Rockstar and Take-Two Interactive, but also because their argument literally doesn't work. All they have to do is look themselves in the mirror and say oh yeah, we were around back then and we were actually doing that sort of stuff. But as always, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Let me know what you think about this entire story and more. If you did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily Red Dead Redemption 2 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you guys in the next video.